What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Maury Garage. In this episode, we're going to get our subwoofer box wired up and installed in the car. Stay tuned. Well, the box is complete. Now that we have our box built, I'm going to get this thing wired up. This thing is actually already wired for an amp and a sub. I saw this power wire, so I went to look in the back. I'll show you that in just a second. I came back here into the back, and if we push this seat forward, we have a ground wire. Ground wire is actually anchored to underneath the seat. RCA cables and my remote turn on. They actually wired the remote turn on and the RCA cables to or behind the deck. I did already test it. I hooked the amp up just to make sure it would turn on, make sure it got power, and it does. It's probably not necessary and it's probably overkill, but I bought this thing. This is a true zero gauge. You can see, I mean, there's a huge difference between zero gauge, and I think that this is probably a 4. Where, I don't know how well, and you're really not going to be able to see that, and I'm really sorry. But where that power wire is running through is there is a grommet that is actually for the factory wiring harness that runs where that blue wire is running through. And what they actually did is just pushed it to the side and ran the power wire through there. I'm gonna retain that. I'm gonna stick with that just because it's the easiest route right now. And I finally got these splash guards back on, so there shouldn't be any moisture or anything getting up in there. What I did is took the original power wire and my new one. I actually cut the edge off so that the wires are sticking through. I wrapped them together, and then I taped those up really good, and then I taped the sides up all the way down. That way when you tug on this thing, it's not going to go anywhere. And so my goal here is to pull the blue wire in from the cabin of the vehicle and then have this my new zero gauge wire follow it. So I did get it through. I did have to get some help to have somebody pull it from this end and then me push the grommet to the side because this was a much larger gauge wire. I'm going to see how far I can get up in here so that you can see where it comes through it there. And it's right behind that insulation. Power wire's coming down, ran it right behind my carpet here. It'll come all the way through. There's a lot of room to really stuff this thing. That was what I was worried about. But you can see there's my remote wire, the blue one on top. There's my new power wire running all the way through. So to do that, what you would have to do first is remove the weather stripping. The center of it just runs along this edge right here. So when you take that off, you'll remove the piece that sits over that, which is this piece right here. And you'll see it has these 2 clips on either end, and they just fit down in these little holes right here. You get to this section right here. I couldn't figure out how to get the whole centerpiece here apart. So what I did is I was able to pop the bottom half out on this side and on the other side, and it gave me enough room to literally, I just fed the wire, I mean, all the way through, and then I took like a screwdriver to help me tuck it down into the carpet. So I'm going to show you the back side now. There's that centerpiece. Again, it's ran all the way underneath the carpet. You can kind of, well, I don't know if you can see down in there or not. There it is. You can barely see it right there next to the RCA cable. But yeah, it's ran all the way to the carpet, all the way back. You will actually have to take the back seat out, just the bottom part. It's I think it's a T40. So you'll take that out, pull the seat off, and then you can run your power wire all the way to the back. So if you fold this seat down, there it is. I've got the sub in there. The box is in there. Man, it worked out great. The amp is on the side. It's not really mounted anything, but it fit nice and snug in there. You can see my RCA cables are there. All of my other wiring is hidden right back down in there. I'm going to try to tuck these just a little bit more so you don't see them. This is important to note. I just wanted to show you because I've read a lot of forums. I watched a lot of videos and nothing really showed me where to connect my remote turn on or how to run my RCA signals. Luckily, again, this car was already wired up for it, but unfortunately, wherever they hooked the remote wire up to, it was a constant power source. It did not go off when the engine was off. Whoever installed this, they actually did a pretty good job with certain stuff. They added a line out converter right behind the system. And you can, if you look really close down there, you can see the RCAs that are coming out from it there. This is how they spliced into it, was with these little things right here. Here is my remote wire, and this is where they actually tied it into, was into this brown, hold on, sorry, you can't see that. Was into this, I guess, kind of gray and red, brown and red. I'm assuming this is the constant power source. So this is not going to work. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to run to AutoZone and grab me a fuse tap. Your remote wire to get your signal. Everything that I found, people were saying the F85. The only thing that sucks about the F85 when you put your remote wire in there is that it does turn off completely when the engine goes off, whereas the radio stays plain, you know, when the motor goes off. So you will lose that. I bought it out of fuse, so I mean the only thing I have to do is just pop it out of there. If I find a better place, a better accessory port, I will let you guys know. Here is the out of fuse that I got at AutoZone. I did have to get some extra 7.5 amp fuses because it will require a second one, but it comes with just an end right here. You slide the remote turn on wire inside, you crimp it down, and then I just wrapped it in electrical tape. So here, right underneath the glove compartment on the passenger side, that's the little F85 slot. So you'll pull the original fuse out. The original fuse goes in here, and you'll add your second 7.5 amp fuse, and then this will just plug right in. Just like that. I just wanted to show you this because I got really frustrated earlier. Cut my remote wire out. Went to AutoZone, grabbed an added fuse, put it in the F85 under the glove compartment. Amp turned on when the engine came on, amp turned off when the engine turned off. So I was super happy. So when I went to go play some music, I got no sound out of my subwoofer. I mean, check the voltage on the main power wire going to the battery. I could not figure it out. So I knew that I had this thing taken apart. I'd already put it all back together. So I decided that, you know, if all my power is fine, it's got to be a signal to the speaker itself. I actually took the subwoofer out of the box. Everything was connected fine. My last resort was to look at the line out converter behind the head unit itself. It was kind of the last thing that I wanted to look at because it was a tedious process to get all this. So you can see everything that you have to take off to actually get this radio out of here. But I did find the solution, or I did find the problem. And the problem is whoever cut these wires, let me show you here. So the line out converter, this is your line out converter. These are going to be your rears or the fronts. I'm not really sure which one is which. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but not in this situation. And so where they cut these wires at, I left one undone already. They were, I mean, maybe an 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch is where how much wire was actually cut back. And so there was nothing holding this wire really to this wire, and the piece of electrical tape they had was like this long. Like, I don't know how in the world they had stayed together as long as it did. So my guess is that when I was messing with it earlier, when I pulled this thing out, these things came apart and I just didn't see it. And so I'm just telling you, if you go to install one of these things, you know, when you cut your wire, I mean, a good 1/2 inch on both sides, and then when you wrap it, you can see how tightly I wrap this thing. I mean, wrap it good. I mean, so that this thing, even with electrical tape, this thing's not coming apart. There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to. And you know, and the person that had it before me, they may have taken it to a shop that, you know, was just in a hurry and they didn't really give a crap, and so you know, they did just a piss poor job of doing it. So anyway, I've already cranked it back up. I realize it's working great now. I do want to help you guys out because I could not find anything online to show me where to splice into. Like I said, I've done vehicles in the past. I did one, but it was on my old truck, but it was an aftermarket head unit. So the wiring colors were not the same. I actually have done 3 on 3 different newer Silverados, but where I spliced the wires were in the rear speakers and the pillars. So I wanted to show you just kind of what they used here. This red and tan and red and purple are going to be 2 of them. I'm not sure if it's the front or rear. That's the only thing I can't tell you guys. And then the other one is going to be, let's see if I can get down in there to find it here. Right there. So it's going to be it looks like a tan, and then a tan and with a brown line through it. Yep, that's it right there. So those two are going to be, it's either the front or rear signals, and then the other ones are going to be these two right here. But anyway, that's it, and everything's working. So I'm going to put all this back together, and then that will be it. All right, guys, well, we got our sub box built. We got it in the car. It sounds great. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.